Once he finally turns red, you know you're almost done the battle. You're at least halfway through at this point. You may find yourself taking longer with this boss battle than half of the stages in the game. Once the Kraken has finally been defeated, we can move on to stage number 6. In stage number 6, we have a lot of the enemies we saw earlier on in the game. The key to these enemies, once again, is just kicking them or hitting them just a little bit away from you. It may not look like you would be able to normally hit them, but you'll be able to just barely touch them and defeat them before they're actually able to do any damage to you. For the flying enemies, you're going to have to do a jump kick at the right point when they're coming down, so that when you're in the air, you'll be able to deliver your hit to them without them hitting you. One thing that's definitely a lot easier is getting the Spirit Orbs in this version of the game, since the Cerberuses that drop them move rather slowly and are always pretty much coming at you. The only time it became a little bit of a pain was definitely the 4th level of the game. This boss is definitely hard to deal with as well, but he's not as hard as the Kraken from the previous level. The worst thing about this boss, though, is that you can't see when you're doing damage to him because he doesn't shake when you hit him. His weak spot is the big ball in his belly. You're going to have to use your projectiles to hit him there. If you try to do your big up move, you're just going to end up running into him and taking damage. The real key is just to stay away from him and keep blasting him in the stomach anytime you get the opportunity. To jump over his big blast, you're going to have to do a double jump. I like to stand on the far left of the screen. Then when he blasted out, do your double jump, followed up by your blast that goes up and down so that you can actually avoid it. By doing so, you should be able to completely avoid his fire blast and take no damage from it. After a while, he'll finally turn red so that you know you've actually been doing damage to him the whole time, and it's just a little bit longer before you defeat him. As soon as level 7 begins, you're going to get attacked from an enemy from behind, and it's really hard to dodge that one, so you may end up taking one hit of damage right at the start. Level 7 is the last of the original stages, and it also happens to be the second last level of the game. Just like we've been doing, hit the enemies from a little bit of a distance so that your hit ends up hitting them and their punch can't reach you. Thankfully, once you transform to your second power orb, it'll only take 2 hits to kill these guys. The level is really short and you'll have your third spirit orb very quickly. This form is an eagle form, and with it you can do a fire blast going left or right as well as have a projectile weapon. The boss of this stage is pretty easy to contend with. You're going to have to blast him in the stomach. Stay in the air about here, and anytime he fires a blast towards you, send out your other blast, and what happens is you'll negate his hit and you won't take any damage from it and it'll go away. The only thing you really have to dodge is move away from any of the lightning bolts that come down from the sky. He takes a good amount of hits to kill, but if you can keep moving away from the lightning bolts, you shouldn't have too much trouble with him. The key is not mashing your fire button, but waiting for the right opportunities for his blast to come inside of you so that when you hit it, you'll take it out as well as do damage to him. Sometimes though you will end up missing and probably take a hit or two during the course of this battle. Once he transforms into red, he only has a couple more hits before he's destroyed. For some reason, he doesn't turn red until really late in the fight. Stage number 8 is the final level of the game. These goat enemies can be a little bit troublesome, but as long as you're kicking them from a distance, you shouldn't have too much trouble. The worst enemies are definitely the purple unicorns.